Let's start off with some follow-up from the previous video. It turns out Ebonite Steves were actually patched out and can no longer be obtained. Here's what it looks like when a grabber catches the engineer's lure. Previously, I said that the minigun cools faster the longer it has been since it fired. This is totally wrong. The minigun cools at an even rate. I don't even know how I let this pass. As everyone pointed out, if Bosco's carrying an object and you're close enough, if you press X, he will throw it to you instead of just dropping it. With that out of the way, onto the techniques and mechanics you hopefully don't already know. Speaking of Bosco, if you target the charge suckers on Betsy instead of Betsy herself, you'll get much better results. Grabbing a ledge prevents fall damage. When you approach a mini-mule, its legs become visible on the terrain scanner. Speaking of, lots of stuff has unique icons on the terrain scanner, an especially subtle one being the Unknown Horror, with simply a black void representing it. In the settings, if you enable toggle laser pointer, then the outlines will remain permanently. In the loading screen, you can press Q or E to change your class. Your mileage may vary, however, as it's very finicky. For me, it only works in public games, and even then it just sometimes doesn't work. Temperature shock is an obscure mechanic. If an enemy is on fire and takes cold damage, or conversely is frozen and takes fire damage, their temperature will be instantly reset back to base level and they'll be dealt 200 damage. This is more well known, but many enemies have elemental weaknesses or resistances. For example, frost enemies are weak to fire and resist cold. Speaking of, more bugs have variants than you might think. Swarmers, grunts, grunt guards, and grunt slashers all have variants for glacial strata and radioactive exclusion zone respectively. The glacial variants are weak to fire and resist cold, while the radioactive variants resist radiation. The projectiles of a spitball infector can be shot down. If you pop both of the Mactera Goo Bomber's goo sack weak points before it's killed, it won't release sticky goo upon death. When you pet a loot bug, there's a chance it'll drop a chunk of gold or nitra. You can even pet a loot bug just before it explodes, which doesn't cost any time. So, if you're really strapped for resources, there's a strategy. Loot bugs aren't all great though, they can eat loose mineral chunks. If you remove the terrain from under a honeycomb, it will instantly die. Several creatures are attached to the terrain, including the Glyphid Brood Nexus, Spitball Infector, Cave Leech, Corlock Tyrant Weed, and aforementioned Deep Tora Honeycomb. Out of all of these, the honeycomb is the only creature that is killed by being detached from terrain, and I have no clue why. Though not a creature, the exploding plants do die when dug under. When mining gold in sandblasted corridors, you can make use of the terrain being destroyed in one hit by mining the terrain around the gold instead of the gold itself. When under Rocky Mountain's effect, you can also employ this technique in other biomes. Speaking of beer, pots of gold only buffs gold mined by the pickaxe, not Bosco, or guns, or even explosions. In the space rig, you can press M to open the map. If you join a game late, you still get the same rewards. This can yield resources very quickly. Warning, joining games late for the rewards is looked down upon by some people. That's it for the general tips, now for some class-specific stuff. The Driller's Flamethrower can burn the organic material that spawns around alien eggs and dreadnought cocoons. The Experimental Plasma Charger's Charge Shot deals 25% of its damage as fire. This lets you do stuff like burn cobwebs or ignite the cloud from a Praetorian or Neurotoxin grenade. The Impact Axe can be stood on if you need a little boost. The Drills and Impact Axe both do melee damage, which means they both activate the Vampire perk, and you can open Ebonnuts with them. Ebonnuts can also be opened by Doretta's Drill, since it too does melee damage. For the Engineer's Proximity Mine, there's no limit on how many can be deployed at once. You can stack a bunch in one place for high damage against dreadnoughts. The Turret Whip perk can be used on other players' turrets. The Gunner's Minigun remains fully revved for a while after you stop firing. This means that with good timing, you can B-hop. To B-hop, stop firing when you land, then immediately jump. When you're in the air, resume firing. B-hopping bypasses the movement speed penalty when firing normally, the downside being a slight decrease in how much you can fire. This strategy requires an open area to be effective. Once you get good at this, you can run away from swarms and shower them with bullets at the same time, at least until you accidentally back into a wall. You can also B-hop with the autocannon, but to a less great effect. For every 2 ammo expended by the minigun, only 1 actual bullet is fired. If you're caught by a Mactera grabber, you can break free by grabbing onto a zipline. If you have trouble with your timing when grabbing onto zip lines, you might be one of those who don't know you can preemptively hold E instead of tapping it. No timing necessary. In fact, you can do this on basically anything that you press E for. The Scout's M1000 has an overclock called Hover Clock that slows your trajectory down for a second when charging a shot. If you land while slowed, you won't take any fall damage. Weirdly, the faster you're falling, the easier this is to time. If you grapple onto a moving object, you'll float in place so long as you hold left click. This is most useful on point extraction, where you can grapple onto the rocket ship, making you out of reach of most enemies, although a flying or projectile spewing enemy can easily ruin your day. If you're not a scout, you can use similar tactics by riding on top of the rocket. Platforms are useful to make a little base up there. Realistically, I wouldn't advise using this strategy except as a novelty, although it is fun. When playing escort duty solo, you can command Bosco to protect Doretta, which it'll proceed to do a poor job of. When fighting the Armor in Hearthstone, making a platform roof over Doretta will protect it from the stones. Armor and beamers can be destroyed by anything that destroys terrain. This includes obvious stuff like pickaxe and drills, but also some unintuitive examples like the powered minigun, heavy autocannon, and heavy revolver. Inexplicably, the burstfire gun is the only gun or weapon that doesn't damage terrain. Another good use of terrain-damaging weapons is shooting red sugar down from the ceiling. A quick and easy way to take down beamers is comboing the grappling hook and pickaxe. If your power attack is charged, you can easily latch onto the top of the beamer and take it out with a power attack. If your power attack isn't available, try and land on top of the beamer, then kill it with 2 pickaxe strikes. In on-site refining, if you hit the end of a pipeline twice with your pickaxe, the last node will be deleted and the pipe will go back to its second to last node. If you connect a pipeline to a pump jack, the entire pipeline becomes permanent. Pipelines can also be dismantled by the impact axe or drills. If commanded to, Bosco can construct and repair pipelines. When Bosco constructs a pipeline node, he will proceed to the next node, and so on until the entire pipeline is constructed. When repairing, Bosco will only repair that one node. Grinding on a pipeline cancels all fall damage. When grinding on a pipeline, hold E and you'll automatically stop at the next broken node and start to repair it. By the way, it's all a big fat lie. Enemies don't actually damage pipelines. Instead, a node is chosen at random to be broken. Bugs will be attracted to the broken node to create the illusion they broke it. Now for some techniques that are utterly useless, but nonetheless cool. In the space rig, if you want constant zero gravity, you'll need to constantly press the button, and you'll need to listen to that alarm the whole time. Fortunately, you can glitch around both these problems. Here's what you do. Press the button, then wait 19 seconds before pressing the button again. Then wait another 3 seconds before pressing the button for the third time. Now the zero gravity will last indefinitely, and no alarm. If you get the timing wrong, you might still get indefinite zero gravity, but you'll also have an indefinite alarm. Some beer's effects can become indefinite with glitches. You must drink the beer, and before it wears off, change class. With Underhill Deluxe, you'll be small indefinitely. With Malt Rock Bearer, you'll be big indefinitely, and with Wormhole Deluxe, you'll be stranded in space indefinitely. Light Breach Blonde is a special case. Instead of changing class, change your armor, and you'll become a disembodied head indefinitely. Please don't patch this out, Ghost Ship Games. The snowballs that appear during Yuletide can collide mid-air. You might think that the host has to get inside the drop pod to start the mission, but if you're carefully positioned, you can descend down to Hoxie's outside the drop pod doors. If you reload the drills, then switch weapons while the drills are still spinning, you can switch back to resume the spin. This works the same as the minigun. You can slap gunk seeds. Getting out of bounds, the quest of every dwarf. The 2 best methods I've found are as follows. 1. In point extraction, climb up the hole from the minehead. Near the top, call a resupply. This will dig through even the compressed granite. Exit through the hole made by the resupply. In salvage operation, the hole made by the drop pod has no compressed granite for some reason. Just exit through that hole. The special powder overclock makes this trivial. When playing Scout, if you grapple into the drop pod and hold left click, you'll be able to escape the drop pod and still survive the mission. Outro time. As always, if you have any suggestions, please comment them. I'm already aware of animation canceling, but that deserves its own video. Wink wink. Sorry if my voice sounds weird. I've been trying to talk gooder, but it turns out that it's kinda tricky to speak in a clear, concise, engaging way. Go figure. Special thanks to everyone who commented suggestions. I was originally going to credit everyone whose suggestion made it in, but that's way too many people. You know who you are.